Hi guys, and so today's video, a little bit of an extra one before we sell the van, is fitting a solar panel on the roof of the T5. Let's do it. Okay guys, so today's job, fitting this solar panel. You might remember, here's the solar panel just here. Way back when I got the van, the lovely people at Lensun Solar sent me this. It's an 80-watt panel, and they also sent me an MPPT solar controller, which kind of does all the charging for the battery and stuff. So they sent me this and the relevant wires and asked if I'd fit it. I did a little review, a little link will pop up, of a kind of an initial unboxing, and it's been this long until I've managed to fit it. I said to my friend I'd do it, and as you can see, it's a glorious sunny day, perfect for fitting it. So the first thing you're going to need to do is make sure the roof of the van is clean. As you can see, I've cleaned half of it. The solar panel comes up to about here. I've already added it on the top just to size it up and stuff, and I'm going to need to drill a hole for this little kind of gland, so each of the wires can go through here down to my leisure battery. And so I'm just going to show you kind of step by step what I'm going to do. Let's see how quick we can get this done. First things first, I've popped the roof up so you can see the roof's up. And the reason I've done that is so we can see where the actual canvas is, because I want the wires to go through on inside of the van. I don't want to be running them in through here then in through the channel here. I'll just show you up a bit closer so you can see with the roof up there's this gap here. Now if I was to place this gland at the back there, which would be nice and symmetrical with the back of the roof, actually what would be happening is the wires would be coming out this side, and that would mean I'm going to have to trail these wires down here. I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to fit it up a little bit higher, probably around about there. That'll mean that it's coming through on the van side. So as we look at the top of the van from sort of the inside with the roof up now, so I want the leads to come underneath the roof, underneath this bit here, right down at the back, and then I'm going to feed them through in that far corner where you can see my finger is. That's just above where all my electrics are. So I'll show you what I've done so far. That wire will then come down around the back here. This is the top of my unit, and actually in here is where I'm going to want to wire it all up. So in this top cupboard just here, as you can see, it's a little bit messy in here. This is the back of the Sargent EC160, but here is the MPPT solar charge controller. You can see that just there. It's got enough space above it and below it to give it enough cooling. Now the one thing you need to be really careful about when you're working with solar panels is obviously as soon as you get it in the sun, this is going to start working. It's not got an on and off switch. You can see here it's got the two terminals. This one is the positive one, this one is the negative one. Now a disclaimer guys, obviously I'm not a qualified auto electrician. I'm not telling you how to do your van. In fact, don't copy anything I've done. If you end up dead or in hospital, I don't want it to be my fault. I'm prepared to take that risk. I've got a rough idea of what I'm doing, and so that's a disclaimer. As you can see on the corner, it's got these little eyelets, which are for marine applications. What we need to do is we're going to snip those off. So we'll just basically cut along there on all four corners without getting anywhere near all the electronic bits. So we'll just slice along there with some scissors or a Stanley knife, and we'll cut through that. This backing is ETFE, which is basically, it's like a non-slip. It's very different than a glass panel. You can see it's kind of a textured, almost rubberized feeling. You could walk on it, not that we're going to be doing that, but it's very, very lightweight, semi-flexible. We're going to now offer this up onto the roof. You can see I've offered the board up. The reason I've put it on this side is I'm leaving the other side, because you could get another board the same side on the other side, and you could put a second one of these for the glands on the back as well, just there. And so it's kind of like symmetrically, it'd look better if it was bang in the middle, but actually this kind of future-proofs it and allows us to kind of tether in a second panel in the future should the new owner desire to do that at some point. I've taped all the way around the edge of the panel, and so that basically means when I mastic it down, I'm going to be able to lift that off. That will give me a really nice clean edge around the edge of the panel as well, save getting my hands all dirty. Next up, we're going to need this. I've got a 25mm hole, so I just bought this from Homebase, like 6-7 quid. It's only a cheapie, literally to do one hole. Probably not going to use it again. So under this, where the gland goes, I've put a bit of masking tape, and I'm literally just going to do a hole there. Now it's always a bit scary when you're drilling holes or doing things in the van, always a bit frightening. Now this is the fiberglass roof, so I've not obviously cut the power because it's not actually part of the van really, but you should sort of disconnect the mains battery, disconnect your electrics and stuff like that before you do any cutting or drilling. I can't video this bit because I need both hands, but we'll come back once it's cut. Let's hope it goes well. Okay, and so that's the hole that goes right through down there. So I'm just going to tidy all that up, clean all this up, get rid of all this dust, and then we're going to stick this little box down just on like so. Okay, so you can see that's a nice neat little hole, and then that goes through there. The great thing with this, with it being fiberglass, is that's not a sharp edge, so I don't really need to stick a grommet in there. I'll see if I've got one that fits, but with a tin top you'd obviously want to make sure you stick a grommet in there. And you can see I've cleaned all the dust off. You want to make sure all the dust is off before you start applying the sealant. And so next up, you can see down there, that's the solar panel all laid out. I've cut all the corners off. I've got myself some Sikaflex here. You want to order the Sikaflex 512. The links will be in the description for the solar panel, for this stuff, for the little gland on the roof, anything you need for this job, link in the description. So if you want to buy it, click on those. And you can see I've cut those 4 corners off. And so what I'm going to do, again, I can't really record this because I need both hands, but I'm just going to run a bead of this adhesive all the way around the outside. Then as quick as I can, I'm going to lay the panel on the roof. So you can see I've put a bead all the way along the edge of the panel, ready to stick it on the roof. We'll have to get this on quick because it dries pretty quickly, but as you can see, I'm not going to win any awards for icing cakes. You can see where I've got all these bits here. I'm just literally pushing this down a bit, then I'm getting a little bit of plastic, sticking it over the edge of my finger and running it along the edge just to make a nice smooth edge like I've done along there, and then a little bit of kitchen roll just around the edge just to tidy it up. I'll show you what it looks like once we're finished. So you can see that's all been smoothed off, and so the next thing really is just to get the corner of this tape. I've gone for a tape that's not high adhesive. I don't want to pull off the I don't want to pull off the paint off the roof, and so this is like a nice light masking tape, and then I'm just going to pull this off all the way along the edge, and then this should give me a nice neat edge all the way along. Okay, so that's the tape all the way off. Now you might be able to see, like here, there's a few little bits of residue, and so what I'm going to do is just get a little bit of white spirit on a cloth and clean that up. As you can see, I'm losing the light, so I'm going to finish up now for tonight, and then I'll just finish off the wiring tomorrow morning. But you can see just here, I've got the 2 wires going through these 2 glands on this. This was about £8 off of Amazon. You can get them off of eBay all over the place. I'd initially just bought a single one, which is half the size, thinking I could put both wires through the one hole, but you actually need 1 wire through each hole, because as you tighten these up, this kind of creates a seal around the edge. If you've got 2 cables in there, what will happen is there'll be a gap in between the 2 cables. You'll actually get water ingress inside and stuff. I thank my friend Lee Manifield for that. He's got an awesome van, by the way. Why don't you check out the little link up here? His van tour video has got over 250,000 views in probably a month or 2, so check it out. He lives just around the corner from me. Beautiful van, great guy. I bought a drone off of him, interesting fact. And yeah, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to quickly mastic this down, and then that's going to create a nice seal around there. And then tomorrow we'll finish off all the wiring, bits and bobs. Okay, so end of day 1, you can see it's all on there, not looking too shabby. It's where it's getting a bit cold now, so you can see a bit of condensation coming on that panel. Look, I can just touch it. So I'm hoping this will cure all right overnight. But yeah, look, it's looking good. So tomorrow we'll just wire it into the MPPT controller and the leisure battery. Shouldn't take half an hour to do that, and then we're done. So it's day 2. I'm up on the van. I've got the roof up. This time it's kind of set overnight. It looks really nice. It's starting to cure, which is great. We've got a lovely sunny day. You can see that behind me. So that's going to help this dry today and tomorrow. You'd have seen yesterday that I've screwed in the MPPT controller for the solar panel, and I've got these 2 cables, so there's a positive and a negative, and these just basically run up through my units. I've just kind of cable tied them into the back of the unit, and it goes up the top of the unit. And then it goes up through the bottom of the floor. It then pops up under the pop-top roof, just the other side of that. I've also got the positive and the negative. These go straight to the leisure batteries. And so those 2 cables to the leisure battery routed all the way behind the unit there. I've hidden them behind this panel. Then you can see here, this is the negative one. I've put a crimper terminal on the end of that. That's just going to get attached to this block there, which is connected to the van. And then there's a positive one that I've run, and that's
I don't know if you can see that block there. It's the third one on the right at the bottom, and that's going to have a 10 amp fuse. It's only an 80 watt solar panel, so 10 amps will be fine for that. So the positive and the negative come down from the panel through these glands. These obviously tighten up to create a really good seal, and that's been masticed on or Sikaflexed on. Up in the far end of the roof now, so those cables, they come down through the hole, kind of in the little thing with the two glands on, the little box, junction box. And so they come down off of here, and there's the positive and the negative terminal just there directly off the solar panel. And then I've got a little extension lead that's here, which is the positive and the negative, and so they just connect together. Now, like I explained earlier, the last thing you want to do is connect these the extension cable together, because as soon as you do that, you're making the whole system live, because obviously that solar panel up on the roof, you can't turn it on or off. It's just going to gather sun straight away. So as soon as it's plugged in, it's going to be live. And so I've not got the fuse in the little box down, kind of where my electrics are in the cupboard, and I'm going to plug these in last. So these extension cables, these just come right down. They go right around the back here, and then they go down behind the back of my unit. And so those cables appear in the back of the unit. I've just cable tied them to some of the other cables that are in here. I'm going to tidy all this up in a minute. And then they go into the bottom there, so we've got everything wired in there. Before we connect everything up, it's all kind of finished up to this point. I'm just going to use my multimeter, which you can see just there, to test these. And so what I'm going to do is check for the amps, check for the volts. I'm not going to be able to show you doing it this way because I need both hands. Okay, so you can see that the panel's currently pulling 2.45 amps, which is pretty good considering it's winter sun. So we're all plugged in and wired up, and it's turned on, and you can see, so that basically means the green light on the one where it says PV, that means that it's drawing charge, and then the fact that the battery one's flashing is showing that the leisure battery is fully charged. And then if we check the Sargent, so we turn this on, and that's telling me that the leisure battery is almost up to 14 volts, which is great. So that's very, very healthy. So there we go, guys, the solar panels are all done. Another job on the van, all finished. Lovely summer sun. Okay guys, so that's probably the last video that I'm going to do of this T5. Oh, sad, I know, but I'm looking forward to my friend having it. It's going to be really nice for him. I've got it all straightened out. It's looking great. I'm going to miss this cab. Check it out. Oh, in the back, look. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Oh, my life. Anyway, if you've liked my videos, please do subscribe. If I've been of any help to you and you want to buy me a beer or a coffee, there's a link in the description. You can PayPal me £3 as a thank you. Cheeky, I know to ask, but I've had people ask if they can support in any way. So there you go. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up, and also please subscribe and check out the walkthrough video that I did. There'll be a little link that will come up to watch that in a moment as well. Brilliant. See you soon, guys. Cheers.